Hello everybody and welcome to Living Your Kick-Ass Life, where I interview people about what they've done in terms of steps to do just that, live their kick-ass life. So today, my name is Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum. I'm America's Kick-Ass Coach and the owner of Empowerment Coaching. And today my guest is going to be Jo Ann Wenner, who is the owner of Prism Coaching and Consulting. And welcome, Marlo. And I'm waiting to see the little eyeball that tells me that Jo Ann is on here, and then I will add her to our feed. But if you would like to share this interview with anyone that you know who is live right now, just feel free to share it live. And you can also share it after we have completed the interview. We'll post Jo Ann's contact information on there so that you can, I see I have two, so let's see. Oh, no, it says one. We'll just keep trying till we get, pretty soon it'll say two. Sometimes it seems to take a little while for the feed to go through so that my interviewee can connect in. And if you saw, there we go. We'll invite her on. Oh, there. We are inviting. And yesterday actually went very smoothly adding her in. So I'm hoping that we have a repeat of yesterday today. That would be awesome. Inviting, inviting, inviting. At some point, Facebook will get to the point where this goes quicker, but in the interim, I just kind of fill in with whatever I can think of. But I think you're going to really appreciate this interview because Jo Ann's a real nice energy kind of a person. I love her energy. It's very, very soothing. So when you're dealing with more difficult issues, she's actually a very nice person to talk to about things because it helps you ratchet down your own anxiety about situations. So we'll give that a minute yet. And inviting, inviting, inviting. Yesterday actually went very smoothly, so I'm hoping that it will again today. Connection failed. Well, I'm going to try again then. Bring Jo on camera. And Jo Ann, if you can hear me, if you're not near your router, you might want to get as close to your router as you can be, because that oftentimes tends to make the connection better. But we'll see what we get here. I also think that every time there's a technological difficulty, it's because something amazing is about to happen in terms of the interview process. So I tend not to get as bent out of shape about these interview glitches as I used to. So we'll see what we can do here. Let me check and see. I'll send her a little note here. So now you're going to hear me typing in the background. How exciting is that? What is it telling you? Question mark. We'll see what we get here. Connection failed. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do, she looks like she hung up and she's going to take another run at it. So there we go, and we'll try that again. There. Third time's the charm, right? We can make this happen. We are more powerful than our electronics. So if you are new to the broadcasts that I do, know that I have a Monday broadcast. There we go, connecting.
Hey!
There we go. Hello.
There. Hi. Sorry about that.
Not a problem.
I could see you, but I could not get on. So
well, and I saw on my end I had to tap it a couple of times to get it to send the invitation. So I don't know, just the technology wizards doing their thing again. So
yeah,
welcome,
just keep it on our tones.
Exactly.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome to the show. I'm glad we connected.
Me too.
All
I'm
right.
excited.
So I've already introduced you in terms of your name and your company, but can you give us a little bit of background about yourself, Jo Ann, and kind of your pre-kick-ass life synopsis?
Sure. Right now, I work as a transformational holistic coach, and I work both with private clients and with businesses, small businesses, and typically women businesses. women-owned businesses. And I work with them. I called my company Prism because one time not long ago, I got a crystal vase from a client of mine for being the prism, helping them to get to what really mattered, that clear white light that produces, all the myriad of colors, brings out all the colors of the spectrum. So that's what I try really to work with people to see their own inner light, because I think what I can help them do is navigate from that place, and that white light that exists within each of us is really what I'd call that inner compass. And
I love that idea, inner compass.
It just shines through. So I love my work. I really do. I love companies, people finding that place where they're really living in their truth, that white light.
Wonderful. Okay, so tell us a little bit about leading up to this. What were some of the iterations that came before Prism Coaching and Consulting?
Yeah, I'd love to. Prism really is the conglomeration of so many different things that I've done in my life. I am a mom of 7 kids, and
wow.
that in itself, my son who's 17 reminded me last night that they really are my life work.
And how awesome is that?
Yeah, really, it really is. And it's always funny because they say children are your best teachers. And so I always joke that I must have needed a lot of teaching in this life.
There you go. Yep.
They really have brought me through a lot of things and provided a lot of wisdom. I have a master's in science, technology, and human values, and one in teaching that really concentrates on creating spaces that are safe enough for emotional intelligence to live and thrive.
Wow, awesome.
I've just been an explorer in my life, just very dedicated to exploring how humans interact with themselves, with the physical world, and it's always been important to me how we interact with the spiritual world. However you want to look at that, the things that can't be seen, touched, how
but you can
interact
still know. Yes.
Yes. I've had so many places in my life where I know there's something bigger than us out there guiding my life.
Can you share a story or two about that? Because I think there
Sure.
are so many people right now who are searching, and there's so much noise in their life that they can't really connect with that still inner voice that is spirit talking to them. Can you share a few stories that helped you know how spirit was operating in your life?
Yes. Well, I have to credit my mom with allowing this deep interconnection to live and thrive, because she never questioned it. I remember being really little, lying in my bed at night and seeing all of these colors around my room, and just very playful and fun. And, if I told somebody that, they thought, I was making it up. It was my imagination. But my mom didn't. She just told me it was guardian angels in my room. So, it was something valuable that I came to time and again. One time I was in my mid-20s and I was lying in a hospital room in a new city to me, all alone, and I had some mysterious bacterial infection. So they had put me in isolation, and I wasn't with family, I wasn't with friends. I was laying there, really, really scared. And all of a sudden, I had this prayer, this guardian angel prayer just came flooding back into me from my childhood. And it just brought this overwhelming sense of peace to me. And I just knew everything was going to be okay. And it was amazing. It was just, I got goosebumps thinking about it. It just really was overwhelming, because I really hadn't been pursuing my spiritual path at that point. I was very much in my brain, using my intellect for everything.
Okay.
And, you know, and then here I was in a place where that wasn't going to do me any good. It wasn't
Right.
going to help me out of this situation. I wasn't going to feel better. It was nothing, really. It was nothing that I could hold on to. And, you know, just, I think it taught me, you know what, it really taught me that I've had to learn again and again, the power of vulnerability. That it's always been in the most vulnerable places where I've just said, okay, I have no control over this. None.
Yep.
Help me, you know?
Yes.
And it's come flooding in. I was stranded in an airport one time. I had this cheap flight. I lived in Spain for a year, and I was on my way back, and I had gone to Slovenia to see my mom's relatives, and had gotten really sick on the travel back. My flight was out of London, and I was really sick. I had an ear infection, strep throat, and
Ugh,
yeah,
not
I
fun.
made it to London, and I was in the airport, and I walked up to the ticket counter to, you know, give my ticket in, and they said my ticket was worthless, that the airline had gone bankrupt and
Uh-oh.
went under, and I had absolutely no money. I had no food. I had nothing, and I really collapsed on a bench in the airport and sobbed, just sobbed. And I got a tap on the shoulder, and this woman came up to me and handed me a ticket, and she said that I was good to go. And I asked, you know, who can I thank, you know, through these tears streaming down my face, who can I thank? What can I do? And they said that someone, you know, had just come and seen me, asked what was happening, and paid for my ticket home.
Wow.
And I never knew. I mean, to me, that's just that divine intervention. That's that moment of grace. It really is. And I can't forget about those things. There's just been so many times I was giving birth to my youngest child, and I was having a lot of medical issues. And I suddenly went into this place where really I felt, I don't know, you know, how people feel about this, but it was true for me and very true. I was in really the arms of Mary, of Mother Mary. I was held and caressed, and I really was I had this spiritual birth of
Wow.
my youngest daughter, and it was really like, again, another rebirth for me. This feeling that I am never alone, and never alone. And it really has grounded me in this idea that my real work in this life is to help people live in that space, from the heart space where, and I love that in French, the word for heart is cœur. And that's what the word courage comes from, because it is in that heart space where the spiritual and the physical, you know, if you think about how, you know, many people, and I have this belief that there's this energy from the earth that comes and all meets in
Mhm.
our heart space. And it is in that place where I think our deepest self-knowledge resides, in the heart, and
Yeah.
courage is there. Courage helps us to act in all those
Yes.
spaces. And
Well, and it's
I,
been so
yeah,
denigrated over the years. The intuition, the heart, we've way overvalued mind and
yes,
given way short shrift to heart and soul. But now
right.
I think there's a resurgence of that coming, and the work that you're doing sounds like it's spot on to help people find those facets of themselves that have been lying dormant.
I see the hugest movement happen with people when they can get into that space. It's so beautiful, and it's just, you know, I feel like I'm a facilitator. That's it. Because, you know, obviously we all make our own choices in life, and we have to take our own steps. So
Right.
I can support people, I can facilitate this in their lives, but they do it, and I'm there to support them and encourage them and cheer them on, and
Yep.
you know, and work to find more and more ways to help them tap into it. So
Yes. Well, and that's what the
yeah,
areas where I think many coaches run amok. They're too busy putting themselves in the position of being the authority. I have your answers for you. Whereas it sounds like you're doing kind of like what I do. We hold space for them. We have tools, tons of tools,
Yes,
but we're
yes.
really holding space for them to find their own answers because they do have them.
And the only ones that last are the ones that they find themselves.
Amen. Agreed, agreed.
Yeah, I think, Bonnie, you've really, really hit on it. And the real fun of this work is that it's never the same, because it's the people you're working with that are taking you on a journey with them.
Yes.
And you don't know where the journey's going to go. And I love exploring.
Yes.
I love a good trip. So
awesome. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, and hi, Lori. I see we've got another visitor here. So talk a little bit about your current life, your current kick-ass life, and how things have kind of come full circle for you so that you can be doing this work that you were already tapping into as a kid.
Yeah, and I've had many iterations of it. It's funny because, you know, one of the questions I knew was going to come up is like my before kick-ass life and what I'm doing now. And I have to say, it has been this journey in and out of kick-ass. You know, it's I mean, really, I've had these moments of glorious life, and then I get scared. And it's that fear, you know, fear I'm not capable, I don't have the credentials, I'm too old, right? Like right now, you know, in the 50s, women in their 50s have a really hard time with being seen. And
agreed.
And yeah, and so it's, you know, I'm not too old. You aren't too old. None of us are ever too old.
No.
It's how we want to show up.
And claiming that wise woman, I mean, the word that typically has been applied to it is crone. And I think crone has gotten such a bad rap, but really what it's about is stepping into that woman of wisdom energy and blowing the heck out of that.
Exactly. I mean, the life experiences to draw on are really, I haven't even started to tap into them, I don't think. They just, you know, you're in a situation and something, you know, just clicks and you go back to that place. Like, I learned a lesson here and I can share that lesson, and it's really helpful. And
I can make your lessons maybe less painful than my lessons had to be.
Right. And being very careful to know that that was my life experience and it isn't the same, but there's something I learned from there that can be shared.
Right.
To help you navigate your own life.
Right.
You know, you don't have to make the same mistakes.
Right. And they decide how to take that and process that and utilize it.
Make it their own.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
So can you share some of the things, some of the typical reasons that people come to you? What are they coming in the door saying?
I really have a lot of people come to me that have tried many other things and it just hasn't worked, or it hasn't worked to the point that, to the place of progression they've wanted it to be. So I would love to work with people earlier on in that process, but you know, maybe it's what I am meant to do, because I don't know. When people come, I think I also practice Reiki, and the way that I came into Reiki was, again, at one of those junctures in my life where I really needed to dig deep and make choice, you know, because that's the powerful thing I have really found in my life, is that, you know, fear is this powerful thing that prevents us from choosing, at, you know, making authentic choices.
If we allow it to, yep.
Alignment with us. We choose all the time, but
right.
Making a real choice, a real step into, yep, this is me, this is what I want to do. And I knew that I needed to strengthen that muscle in myself, like to choose for myself, to show up for myself. And Reiki really, you know, people have all kinds of things that they'll do to get to that place. Meditation is wonderful. Some people write in journals. Some people go out into nature, and
Right.
I do use all of those things myself, but Reiki has been the one true thing for me. I can do it anywhere, anytime. It really brings me into my heart center. And so if I'm having difficulty with something, I will go to that practice, and it it brings me back to that place where I can say, is this choice true for me? And
Well, and how many
yeah.
people would give their eye teeth to be able to discern that for themselves? I think, and I'm sure you see this too. I have so many people who come to me saying, I don't know which way is up. I don't know what
Yeah.
voice I'm supposed to be listening to. They're so confused and overwhelmed with the sheer volume of stuff that's coming at them that, yes, to
Mm-hmm.
have a practice that allows them to settle into that heart space and really hear that voice, phenomenal.
Right, right. And I think people need to, it's not, everybody has their own thing that will ring true for them as a practice.
Mm-hmm.
And so part of the work I do with people is helping, if they don't have a practice, helping them find that practice. I really am very open, but we all need, I think, to find a practice. And support systems. I've had my own coaches. I have a coach right now. I wouldn't be without it, and we move through different iterations of our life, different periods of time, different, health issues or relationship issues or work,
Right,
decide, this work was always great for me, but now I feel like I want to do something else. Just, I need to change.
right.
And so just helping people navigate that change. And it's just so helpful to have, a support system. For me, it's been a coach. I like accountability. It's been really necessary for me. And, this is a tangent, but it's one of the things I found. I used to be a project manager for Fortune 500 companies, and I was a bridge. I helped people work together, communicate difficulties through difficult places, and get on the same page, and held them accountable, and
Mm-hmm.
moving mountains because of this accountability. But I hadn't thought a lot about using that in my own life, like duh.
Yep, yep.
But
But it's huge.
it's huge. It's
Yes.
huge. It
Support
is.
and
And
accountability. I think they're both,
yep.
they go hand in hand.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. So what are some of the difficulties, the resistances, the barriers that you ran into in your process of becoming who you are today?
I think one of the biggest barriers for me was this idea of being a quitter, because when I grew up, quitting was absolutely unacceptable in my household. I mean, we were taught to always do for others first, because this idea that, you're in this family, you're strong enough to take on anything, and I spent a lot of my life helping others, actually helping others not show up in their own lives by taking on their issues, their problems, fixing things,
Got it.
um,
Yep.
all of that. And it's not different from lots of other women I run into.
Absolutely true.
It's not. And the idea of quitting. So I was in places where I was really stuck, and I was making choices because someone else's care and concern I put before my own. And I didn't allow them the opportunity to have to wrestle with the things that I had to wrestle with to take on this role. So it was a difference between learning that there's quitting and there's navigating.
Yes.
That we don't quit, we just make a modified choice or another choice. But who are we quitting on? The only person we really quit on is ourselves. That's what I learned. I was quitting on myself by taking on the work of other people.
Right, because when you're doing that, you can't fully show up for you.
No.
Yeah.
No, and I ended up with some really severe health problems because of it. And, it really became a matter of life and death in a lot of ways. Am I going to continue on this path where everybody around me seems to be happy, but I'm holding this all together in this very fragile state? and, you know, thinking, well, if I fall apart, everything's going to go to hell.
House of
Well,
Yep.
kind of did, but but you know, it was a necessary falling apart. And you know, there's some great books out there. Pema Chodron talks a lot about that, when things fall apart. And you know, it's that, you know, and there's this idea of in our heart space, that I know people have heard this before, but you know, when things really fall apart, when your heart is broken, and I've broken mine open many times, but that's where that expansion comes, you know.
Yeah.
The heart, like the Grinch, I mean, that's where that heart actually does grow, and you feel it. I mean, you just do, just being more compassionate when you show up in the world. And you know, this idea of presencing. I remember once in my corporate world, we were taken over by another international company, and it was one of these like things you read about in a book. Get called at 11 o'clock at night to go to this hotel room, and it's like all secret. Because I had to go in the next day. I was managing the human resources for the company. I had to go in and tell all these people that I admired and, you know, had worked with for so long. They were friends that we were, you know, they were going to lose their job. And some of them I knew had needed the insurance. They needed the job. You know, it was heartbreaking. It really was. And I sat in my car in front of the building, and I just was like, what am I going to do? You know, like, God, help. How am I going to walk in there and do this? And plus, I had had no sleep. I'd been up all night at this meeting.
Right.
Went home, changed, came in. I felt like I was falling apart myself. And I got this big answer. And again, this idea, like this guardian angel kind of thing, just washing over me and saying, you just need to show up.
Right.
You need to show up. And
Right.
so I went in there, and for the next, I'd say, year, until everything transitioned into this new company, I went in there. That was the only thing I decided I was going to do. I was going to walk in and show up for every person I met. And it was such an amazing lesson of real growth, of letting my preconceived ideas about how all these things should play out and what should really happen, just letting them go, and just trusting that by showing up, I could hear from my heart space the real truth, and help people from that place find their own answers with, what do I do next?
Yes.
Where do I go from here?
Yes. And my guess is, if we took the time to find all of those people who went through that difficult transition and asked them what were the gifts in that quote unquote disaster, they'd be very able at this point to give the list of, these are the things that I got out of it. One of the things, when people come to me and say, I was just downsized, I was fired, I say, congratulations. They look at me like I'm nuts. But to the person, I cannot think of one person who's been let go from a job that now, however far after that event happened, can't say, I am in a better place because of it.
Yeah. Did you get the notes from the universe?
Yes.
Okay. Today's was perfect just with that, because it said, when a door closes, you can knock again and again and again, but don't forget to open the other doors.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. And I can't remember who said it too, but there's the one about, if you're staring at the door that's closed, you're missing all of the doors and windows, etc., that are open around you.
Yes.
Look around.
Perfect.
Look around.
Perfect.
Yes. Awesome.
Yep.
So if you were going to share with our audience something that you would like them to take with them, a golden nugget, a one last tip that you would like them to take with them, what would it be?
Trust themselves. Trust that inner heart space. Trust it. You know, it. I think people intellectualize it now. Like, I'll read about the very same thing and people will call it instinct. And I'm like, okay, use that word, because people that are operating in the powerful brain space, they can think about instinct, but you know, it's really, to me, it's that intuition. It's that heart space. But work at, you know, if you don't have some practice that brings you that quiet space where you can actually live inside of that place. You know, it's scary. If you haven't done it for a long time, or you don't know if you've ever done it, it can be kind of scary to go into that place, because when we let that open up, things start to flood in. And so, but it's invaluable. It's really what makes life, to me, the most rich. You know, it's the wealthiest life we can live, if you want to think about wealth.
Well, there's where I think the support is so important too, because when that initial flood comes in, if you have a coach right there who's saying to you, breathe into it, stick with this, let's explore this, let's be the curious observer about this, it can make all the difference between allowing it to open up or shutting it down.
Yes, and to just, you know, sometimes I will just sit in, Reiki is a practice of loving compassion. So, you know, sometimes when I'm coaching, I don't outrightly, you know, have a Reiki session with someone, but I will I will do everything I can to hold that sacred space that you're talking about, and just sit in loving compassion with whatever they're struggling with. And inevitably there's a little light that'll shine, and they'll find an answer. And it can be a big one, it can be a little one, it can be that baby step, and I'm going to help you celebrate that little baby step, because that's, you know, that's forward movement. It's awesome.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, so if someone is enjoying what they're hearing that you're saying, how would they go about getting a hold of you?
I have a website called Prism, so www.prism.com. I'm on Facebook. Facebook page, if you look for Prism, you'll find it. I'm not going to rattle that one off. My phone number is 612-240-6279. And my email account is Jo Wenner, WENNER, @prism.com.
Wonderful. And once we're complete with the interview, if you wouldn't mind going into the feed and adding that information into the comments section, that would be awesome.
I will. Thank you so much.
All right. Anything else you'd like to say to our listeners before we're done today?
Find your courage.
Find your courage. That's beautiful.
No, I actually have a picture of Wonder Woman up in my, right above my desk with courage across it.
Awesome. Well, and I just saw the video that's going to be, I'm revamping my website, and in the video there is an image of a woman standing in front of a window. She's wearing a business suit, but she's got a red cape on.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
I love it.
That's fun. That's exciting.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, thank you so much, Jo Ann. I think this was an awesome interview, and hopefully if you share it on your page, we'll see if we can get some people interested in working with you. I think the things you're offering are exactly what people seem to be needing today. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. And everybody, remember, you're all capable of far more than you think you are.
Yes. Thank you so much, Bonnie.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Bye-bye.